If you like baseball, you gotta love doubleheaders. The Twins have one today, a split doubleheader with the Kansas City Royals, hoping this afternoon to even the series at a game apiece. And the Twins looking up at the Royals and three other teams in the American League Central. Time for the Twins to make a late first half move with a strong finish in this homestand. Beautiful afternoon for baseball here at Target Field. Dick and Bert with you for the first of this split doubleheader. And the Twins really need to get back into a pattern of getting good quality starts. And to that end, they'll hand the ball to Scott Diamond.
And I think they have the right guy on the mound. Scott Diamond coming off a career-high 8 innings pitch in his last start in Cincinnati. He ended up picking up that win. 6-3 in ERA, under 3 for Scott Diamond. He is exactly what Rick Anderson, the pitching coach here, and Ron Gardenhire want. A pitcher that can get into the 6th, 7th, maybe the 8th inning.
That's good under any circumstances, but in particular, given the status of the second game, where Cole DeVries, up from the minor leagues, will make the start in the nightcap.
Well, you know, in the first ball game, Jonathan Sanchez for the Kansas City Royals, he has really struggled. It's going to be up to him to try to pitch deep into the ball game. Good pitching matchup in game 2 with DeVries making just his 4th major league start, and Luke Hochevar, he has been on fire.
Everybody loves doubleheaders if you like baseball, including the manager, but Ron Gardenhire admits it does present a challenge.
It just basically gets down to how everything unfolds in the course of the game. If you have trouble in your start, then you got to go to the pen. It makes it a little more interesting. We have Blackburn in the bullpen for today. This would be his side day. He threw 60 pitches in his start, so we've added him out to the bullpen, which gives us a little more depth. Some guys threw last night, but none of them too much. So, it's definitely something you have to watch for. You're just hoping your starters carry a little bit to give you, innings and a chance to win the ball games, and that makes doubleheaders no big deal.
Ryan Doumit will catch the opening game of this split doubleheader. He'll be catching for the Twins for the next couple of years. We'll talk more about that in a moment.
Your local Northland Ford dealers. Visit your local Northland Ford dealer or go to northlandford.com. By Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And the new summer barbecue menu at Burger King. Let's have a barbecue today.
For game one of a day-night doubleheader on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in downtown Minneapolis as the Twins and the Royals get set to play two. Just like Ernie Banks said, always fun to see a couple of baseball games at the ballpark in Minnesota. In game number one, we'll have Ryan Doumit behind the plate, catching and batting sixth for Ron Gardenhire. He's been putting up great numbers, a 9-game hitting streak where he's batted .353 in that stretch. And for the season, Doumit's been a huge asset. With that in mind, yesterday, the Twins extended Doumit for 2 more years. Through the 2014 season, you can see the numbers he's put up, 272, 7 home runs, 33 RBIs. He can play a lot of positions. And we went to the manager, Ron Gardenhire, and asked the skipper about the value that Doumit brings to the Twins organization.
Well, I'm happy for him. He, he's a worker. He's kind of a blue-collar guy. Gets in there and grinds it out. He can do some things, catch and play some outfield and put some nice swings on the ball. So he's big for our ball club. He comes here to play every day. We like those kind of guys.
He'll be catching Scott Diamond. Diamonds might be a girl's best friend, but Scott Diamond could be Gardy's best friend if he can go deep into the game. It's game one of a double dip. The Royals and the Twins next.
And in a word, the weather that day was rotten. And we have a much better day weather-wise here. Beautiful day for baseball. It'll be a beautiful night, and the Twins hope to salvage a winning homestand by winning the final 3 games of the series with the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, Twins need to find a way to start winning at home. They are 14-25 here at Target Field. You have to play. You have to win at home if you want to get back into the race.
Ned Yost will send out this Menards batting order for the opener of the split doubleheader. Alex Gordon leading off. Yuniesky, Betancourt, Mike Moustakas, Billy Butler, Jeff Francoeur, Eric Hosmer, Brian Pena doing the catching, hitting 7th. Jason Bourgeois and Alcides Escobar.
And that lineup will be facing Scott Diamond. For Scott Diamond, he's making his 11th start of the year, his 18th career start. He has never faced the Kansas City Royals. 7 of his last 10 starts so far this year have been quality starts, meaning 6 innings, 3 earned runs or less allowed, coming off that great outing in his last start in Cincinnati. So hopefully Diamond, he's a strike thrower, only 9 walks in 64 innings pitched, and 1 of the walks an intentional walk.
Josh Willingham in the lineup as the designated hitter. That's opened up left field for Darren Mastroianni. Bernard Span, Ben Revere join him in the outfield. Plouffe, Dozier, Casilla, Bauer the infielders, and Doman doing the catching. And hoping that Scott Diamond can continue his impressive run of starts. He really has been the Twins' most reliable starting pitcher, which isn't saying that much because the starting pitching hasn't been very reliable. But when you consider that he didn't even start the year with the ball club, it is really remarkable what he's done this year.
Yeah, he's done a very good job, and you know what? He's a guy that has tried to pick up his pace. They worked on it last start in Cincinnati. Work a little bit quicker, and a great outing. Again, only 82 pitches in the 8 innings that he pitched against the Reds. That's what he's looking for here, especially on a hot day. You want to work quick as a pitcher. Get your defense hopefully in the shade in the dugout as quick as possible.
Meanwhile, the Royals are starting to make a little noise in the division. They're only 5.5 games back, but maybe the most impressive thing about Kansas City, they backed up a winning May with a winning month of June. First pitch fouled back and out of play. Now, when you consider the Kansas City Royals a winning month a year, one of them would be notable because this has been a long drought for the Royals. But they did have a winning month of May, and they are playing pretty good baseball again in June.
Yes, they are currently on a 4-game winning streak. Third time this season they've been on a 4-game winning streak, and that's the highest.
On the second pitch, Diamond gives up a leadoff single for Alex Gordon. Gordon started the game last night with a leadoff double and scored. And Betancourt will come up with a man aboard.
Well, Diamond will throw you pitches that are hittable. He will give up more hits to innings pitched. But that ball left up a little bit, and Gordon slapping it into center field.
Betancourt, the batter.
Pretty good hitting lineup for Ned Yost. They come in hitting .264, 5th best in the American League. Not a lot of power.
Grounder to second. Casilla fires to short. Relay double play. So 3 pitches into the first inning, a single and a ground ball double play.
Yeah, the 10th double play that Scott Diamond's been able to get. This is his 11th start of the year. Not the prettiest double play as Betancourt hits it the other way. Casilla has to play it off to his left. They'll throw a little high, but Dozier stuck with it at that bag at second base and flipped it over to Mauer to complete the double play.
And that'll bring up Mike Moustakas. Moustakas takes a strike.
Now, opponents coming into the ballgame hitting .279 off of Scott Diamond. Left-handers actually hitting .316. Right-handers only .268.
Way out in front, 2 strikes.
And that's a key pitch to Diamond against lefties. He's got it head with the fastball and then that breaking ball down and away. Diamond with 37 strikeouts and 64 innings pitched.
Grounder to second. Easy play for Casilla. And a good first inning for Scott Diamond. try to score first. Ron Gardenhire getting set to put out this Menards batting order for the opening game of the split doubleheader. Denard Span leading things off. Then Ben Revere, Joe Mauer, Josh Willingham, as we said, the designated hitter. Then Trevor Plouffe, Brian Domet, Darren Mastroianni, Brian Dozier, Alexi Casilla.
And starting game one for the Kansas City Royals, it'll be Jonathan Sanchez. He's off to a terrible start. He's making his 4th start since coming back off the disabled list, but look at the walks to innings pitched. 34 walks in 42 innings pitched in 9 starts. So he's averaging less than 5 innings a start. He's been one reason that the Royals have struggled a little bit early in the season. His last win came in his first start in a Royals uniform back on April 8th.
He delivers strike 1 to Denard Span, who started the 9th inning rally last night with a walk. Off the plate, 1-1. You'd made mention last night that as active as the Twins bullpen has been, the Royal bullpen has actually pitched more innings than the Twins have, and Sanchez has got to bear some of the responsibility for that. Only once this year, now he was on the disabled list, but only once this year has he completed 6 innings.
Yeah, I mean, here's a guy that the Royals traded a very good player in Melky Cabrera to get some additional pitching, and it hasn't really worked out.
Toward the left field corner, and Gordon makes a fair ball catch, 1 away. Ben Revere, boy, you like to see this, a young and emerging player for the Twins who's done really well against a divisional opponent.
Yeah, especially when you play him 18 times. Ben Revere against the Royals already this year, 8 hits and 17 at bats, and most importantly, in that number 2 hole, he has scored 5 runs.
2 hits last night, and has done a remarkable job. When he was sent down earlier this year, the Twins felt he was getting under a lot of balls, hitting pop-ups and fly balls, and now rarely do you see him do that. It's a line drive or a ground ball just about every time up.
Yeah, we interviewed him, and all he said was he felt his hands, and Tom Bernansky worked with him down in Rochester just to move his hands a little bit, and all of a sudden now he's popping the ball rather than getting underneath the ball.
There's a chopper, and that ball's going to stay fair, and Revere hits it about 45 feet and gets a base hit. And that's why they want him to hit the ball on the ground. He hardly made contact, but he hit it so softly, his speed was able to get him to first base.
Oh, in last night's ball game against Broxton, their closer, he hit a line drive back up the middle that got a piece of Broxton and then deflected toward first. And you can see Sanchez right there has no play whatsoever.
Revere reached in the first inning in the last night's game, and then was thrown out trying to steal. Here's Mauer.
Now Sanchez making his first career start against the Twins, so they'll try to take a look at his move a little bit. And there's a throw to first, and that's what really you want from a left-hander, is make him throw over there a couple times to see what kind of move he does have. Of course, left-handers have the advantage. The runners, they're looking at the runner. And that high leg kick.
Mauer takes a strike.
Well, GMC keys to the game. Joe Mauer having a great month of June, hitting .400. Mike Trout with the Angels, a young kid, having an outstanding month also.
Mauer takes off the plate, 1-1.
Sanchez coming over from the San Francisco organization, where he pitched there for 6 seasons at the major league level. Fastball in the low 90s, a slider and a changeup. Revere 15 stolen bases in 19 attempts.
Last year, Sanchez led the major leagues in walks per 9 innings pitched, just under 6 walks per 9, and he's leading the major leagues again in that category. The year before that, he led the National League in walks. So control, a big challenge for Jonathan Sanchez.
Well, again, on a warm afternoon day, sun beating down on the defensive players. The last thing that Ned Yost or Dave Island want the pitching coach is this guy to throw a lot of pitches early in the ball game. Attack the strike zone.
A fastball gets a swing and a miss.
Sanchez from Puerto Rico, 29 years old. Signed by the Giants in 2004.
One and two to Mauer. Fouled away. Mauer with 2 hits last night, entering today's action, and we expect him to catch tonight at .324, tied for 4th in the American League, 18 points behind Mike Trout. One and two.
Opponents hitting .263 off of Sanchez. Left-handers hitting only .200. Right-handers .283.
Breaking ball got him. And Mauer has a word or two for Jerry Meals as he heads back to the dugout. 2 down.
Yeah, the hard slider, and Sanchez picking up his 29th strikeout in 43 innings pitched.
Two down. Revere still at first, and now the first right-handed batter for the Twins, Josh Willingham. Drove in his 50th run in the 9th inning last night. Smoked a ground ball, and Escobar made a nice play to turn it into an out. But 50 runs batted in, and we're not to the midway point of the schedule yet.
He's looking to better what he did last year with the Oakland A's when he drove in 98 runs.
He's the one guy that's got some history with Jonathan Sanchez from their time together in the National League, and Willingham's 3 for 5 with a home run. Pena shaking his head as he's looking into the Kansas City dugout. Obviously concern here of Revere stealing second with 2 outs in the inning. And covers the inside corner.
Sanchez coming off a start in his last start against the St. Louis Cardinals. 5 2/3 innings. He walked 6 in that ball game, and that's not a season high. He walked 7 back in late April against the Cleveland Indians.
1-1. Royals, as you said, trading Melky Cabrera, off to a great start in his first year with the Giants for Sanchez. They know their situation. The Royals have a lineup that they like, but they, like the Twins, have some major pitching issues. That's before the 4 Tommy John surgeries they've suffered this year. Sanchez on the shelf with biceps tendonitis.
And you can really say, look at both clubs. It's the starting staff. The Twins combined starters 19 and 38 with an ERA just under 6. And for the Royals, they are 24 and 28 with an ERA right around 5 as starters. So way too high.
As that pitch was. And outside. 2-1. Revere has remained at first base after his infield hit. Taking high 3-1 with Blue on deck.
Sanchez has allowed 5 home runs this year over his first 9 starts. 4 to right-handed hitters.
Scalded, but it's well foul. Check out the Royals in the field. A good left fielder, Alex Gordon, very fleet of foot. Bourgeois in center. Jeff Francoeur, a strong arm in right. Moustakas, Escobar, Betancourt, and Hosmer, the infielders. And Brian Pena behind the plate. So now 3-2, and with 2 gone, the Royals elect to hold Revere on, even though he'll be taking off as soon as he's determined that Sanchez is committed to throwing home. There he goes, and it's ball 4. So now Plouffe will have a chance with 2 men aboard in the first inning. The first of what we assume will be several walks by Jonathan Sanchez. Plouffe ended the game with the Twins threatening to tie it up, maybe take the lead in the 9th inning. And Plouffe fouled out to Moustakas. The Twins comeback came up a run short.
Like to see the RBIs a little bit higher than it is for the 15 home runs. Only 27 runs batted in. So in situations like this is where Plouffe really needs to pick it up.
Had those 7 home runs in 7 games, and they were responsible for 8 runs. So my suggestion would be for him to hit more home runs with 2 men on base than with the bases empty. I think the RBI number will take care of itself.
Yes, I think he would probably like that too.
Pena to the mound to try to get Sanchez through this first inning. Up and away, 2-0. Ed Yost has gone through this before with Sanchez. He's come to the Royals as advertised. Guy that's control challenged and a history of breaking down due to injury.
He's on the DL the same reason he was on the DL last year with the Giants with a left tricep tendonitis.
3-0. Domit on deck. See if Plouffe is green lighted here. Takes ball 4. So an infield hit. That's the Twins have put 2 balls in play. A lazy fly to left and a little nubber up the baseline. But now Sanchez has got a pitch here in the first inning like it's the 9th inning.
Yeah, and there's your defense just standing around in this hot sun as Sanchez can't find the strike zone. Dave Island, the pitching coach, a new pitching coach here in Kansas City. It was Bob McClure for probably 6-7 years now. Bob McClure with the Boston Red Sox. Dave Island, we saw him with the Yankees.
So now Domit, who signed the 2-year extension yesterday, drove in the first run of the ball game for the Twins last night, and has a chance to do some major damage in his first at bat here this afternoon.
Yeah, Ryan Domit, a switch hitter, hitting just .230 as a right-handed hitter. Of course, most of his at bats as a left-handed hitter. 2 of his 7 home runs from this side of the plate.
Strike on the outside corner. Domit looking back at Jerry Meals.
That ball looked a little high right there.
Domit just 1 for 8 in his matchups against Sanchez. Popped up wide of first. Hosmer has no play. And 2 quick strikes to Domit. This will be the 25th pitch for Sanchez. A dozen strikes, a dozen balls. Oh, and 2 to Ryan Domit.
See if they go to that slider. I think it was. You can see Pena right there, like, bring your arm through. Slider just stayed outside.
One and 2 to Domit. Got it.
That slider, he got it over.
He threw one about 1.5 feet wide, then he bent one over for a called 3rd strike, and the Twins leave the bases full. score here after an inning. The Twins will play the scheduled part of the split doubleheader tonight at 6 o'clock. Scott Diamond had a quick first inning, gave up a base hit on the second pitch of the inning, but then got a couple of ground balls and got out of it.
You know, Dick, that's what Diamond was able to do in his last start in Cincinnati. 82 pitches. He did not have an inning where he threw more than 13 pitches in an inning. Here this afternoon, first inning, only 6 pitches, all of them for strikes.
At what point do you think Twins fans can go, you know what, this guy's going to be around here for a while? I would think after 5-6 starts, the league, the advanced scouts, would have a chance to get a book, a pamphlet on Scott Diamond, knowing what he throws, how his pitches, break, what he prefers to throw in certain situations. And that he's still giving the Twins some quality starts here. I would think would be encouraging for fans that this guy, as they're looking for starting pitching, might be part of the answer.
I was just going to say, with the situation of the starting staff, you have to look and say this guy's going to be hopefully wearing a Twins uniform for many years. You know what he does? He does a good job of keeping the ball down in the strike zone. Very seldomly do we see him being hurt by. He makes the adjustment well. Okay, he'll throw a ball up and in, but then you see him make the adjustment and get that ball down. Good pitch right there. Again, ahead of the hitter, especially a good hitter like Billy Butler.
1-2 to Butler, starting the Kansas City second.
Looking inside, and a good fastball inside.
In his last start in Cincinnati, he made maybe the National League's best hitter, Joey Votto, look foolish the first 2 times up. I mean, Votto was missing his pitches by 1.5 feet, and even when Votto hit the home run, it was on a pitch down and away.
It was a good pitch, yeah.
1-2 to Butler. Down the line, foul. I guess, as hard as the starting pitching has been to watch for Twins fans, within the disappointment was the opportunity for someone like Scott Diamond to get up here and pitch. And, without that break, that opportunity, he might never be pitching here.
I grew up in L.A., a Dodger fan. I love Sandy Koufax, and every time he pitched, I wanted to watch that ball game. And I'd have to say Scott Diamond's that Sandy Koufax for the Twins right now. Everybody else in the staff has really kind of struggled. But he's been fun to watch work, go about his business. He's not going to overpower anybody. He just has to hit his spots, and he's done a great job of doing that.
Dozen pitches, 11 strikes. Half his pitches thrown to Butler in this at bat. Sharply hit, but right at Bluth. So finally Diamond wins the battle. 1 down. Coming up next month, the biggest event of the summer as baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 10th, 6:30 Central on Fox. 1 down, and here's Jeff Francoeur. You made it to 2 All-Star games,
yes.
73 one in Kansas City and then the 85 one here. How far in advance of the game itself were you made aware that you made the team and had to maybe scramble to get travel arrangements and all that?
Well, back then, of course, the club takes care of all the travel arrangements, but I was told, I think about a week before. 73 went, I was like 22 years old. I don't even remember that. I remember I was a losing pitcher, but I remember that lineup I had to face. My goodness. And I walked the first 2 batters I faced in the All-Star game. I was so nervous.
Revere dances around a little bit in right field, makes the catch out number 2.
85 was a little bit more memorable because I was more of a veteran player at that time, where you could kind of absorb it. And I believe the 12 years between All-Star appearances for me, I think, is a record as far as.
Was that right?
Yeah, as far as the longest term between All-Star appearances.
And where the heck were you in 1981 or 79?
I have no idea.
One hop skipper to Dozier.
And a 1 pitch out. You got to love that.
6 pitches for Diamond in the first inning and 10 in the second. Darren Mastroianni will lead things off in the second. Then Brian Dozier and Alexi Casilla. Big moment for Mastroianni on Wednesday.
Yeah, against Will Ullman, a reliever for the White Sox. Mastroianni hitting his first career home run.
And he takes up high, ball one, and Mastroianni might be able to say that he knocked Will Ullman out of the big leagues. He's designated for assignment after the game. Missing inside 2-0. The White Sox juggling their rotation and their bullpen. They now have had 7 rookies on their pitching staff. The White Sox have, and they're a first place ball club.
Hey, Tim Laudner, I know you're down in that camera well, and I'm sure there's a nice breeze down there for you. But if you're a catcher like Pena right here, you're trying to catch a guy that's been all over the place. How do you get him back in that strike zone?
Sometimes, as you well know, Bert, you might have to go out there and jack him in the jaw and tell him to go ahead and throw it over the plate. It ain't getting any cooler down here. But, you know, you just maybe want to get a little bit more centered. Don't go to the corners quite so much. Make him throw strikes. Make him get it over the plate. Make him put the ball in play.
So that's a big key then. Don't move left or right. Basically, I mean, cut that play in thirds more or less than out and in.
Did I ever have to come out and jack you in the jaw?
No, you never did. Thank goodness.
Flying to right, Francoeur makes the catch, one away.
I crossed you up once really good. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember it too, and it wasn't just once.
Well, we saw Pena after ball 3 missed badly. I think he threw it back to Sanchez harder than Sanchez threw it to the plate.
Well, you know what? I remember when I first came up, Phil Roof, who had a pretty good arm, and if I wasn't throwing the way that he thought I should, he would throw that ball back at me about at my shin, and I'd have to go down there and get it, and he'd point that big old finger at me. I'd say, yes, sir. Kind of woke me up.
1 strike to Dozier. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. We thought on the road trip Dozier stopped the slide at about the 240 mark and was ready to climb forward, but now the batting average is down in the 220s.
Yeah, he's just not popping the bat. Even that pitch right there looked like it was right there. He just got underneath it. Right now he's hitting a lot of balls the other way. Fly balls to right field.
Two strikes. And Sanchez has literally been hit and miss with that breaking pitch. Threw a nasty one to strike out Doman in a key spot. Most of them have stayed outside, the right-handed batters. Dozier fouls it back. Another breaking pitch.
Yeah, even that pitch left up right there, and he got underneath it. So he's just not squaring up right now. And Tim Laudner, I know he's down in that camera well, and he'd probably like to get out of that camera well as ASAP. But Timmy, you know, when you go through that and Dozier swings at a pitch out of the strike zone for strike 3, how do you try to square up that ball? And you know, you're playing every day. You go to a lighter bat. What do you do?
Well, you know what? I think that there's a lot of things between Brian Dozier and Trevor Plouffe right now. Trevor Plouffe coming off just a great month of June. But, you know, like we always talk about, pitchers are going to make the adjustments. You as a hitter have to make the adjustments too. And I think that both of those guys need to start to focus on the top half of the baseball. I think both of them are coming underneath the baseball just a little bit too much. And so, you know what? Get back to hitting some line drives, spraying the ball around a little bit. But they can start by simplifying just to the point of getting on the top half of the baseball, seeing the top half of the baseball at the plate.
Let's see, lifts it foul. Kind of sounds, Timmy, like you're talking about what we were saying about Ben Revere, staying on top of the ball and trying to drive through it rather than lift it.
That's exactly right. And, you know, and Tommy Pernansky is a good one, as is Joe Vavra. But you know what, baseball hitting is very cyclical. You go through your good spots, you go through your bad spots. You're just trying to minimize the bad spots, and you're trying to gain a level of consistency. You can do that simply by just trying to focus on the top half of the baseball, hitting a hard ground ball right through the middle. Good things are going to happen to you. You're going to start hitting the ball into the gaps.
And leave the pitchers alone. Everything right up the middle. See that? Always right back up the middle. Hitters start to struggle. What do they think? Knock that pitcher off the mound. That's just not right. That's not good thinking, Tim Laudner.
You guys are the self-proclaimed best athletes on the field. You want
That's
that
true.
best athlete out of there as soon as you possibly can.
2-2. Might find this hard to believe, but one of the local sports columnists got hit by the ball and wasn't even paying attention to the game.
That doesn't surprise me who it is.
Knocked down, kicked around, and Casilla will reach. The ball thrown wildly, and now it goes behind home plate. Casilla doesn't see it, and he'll only go to first base. Oh my. Hosmer knocked it down, overran it, then threw behind Sanchez. Pena tried to cut it off. It hit the screen in front of the Twins dugout and rolled over by the Kansas City dugout.
Yeah, I mean, Hosmer fighting this ball right here and then throwing it behind Sanchez as he's covering the bag. And then the catcher, Pena, getting over there. But the ball hitting the screen and then deflecting away. You can see Casilla rustling through the bag. Jerry White trying to do everything he can to get Casilla's attention. But Casilla kind of walked back to the bag. By the time he reacted, is too late. It'll be an infield base hit for Casilla.
But he should be at second base, and
Yes.
you saw the exasperation from the manager. Here's Denard Span. High and tight. Ball one. Pena's got his work cut out for him. And we've already seen him, as we saw Drew Butera and others try to get Liriano under control when he was all over the place. And this is I don't think Pena was going to catch tonight anyway, but he's going to shoot all his bullets here in the afternoon game with Sanchez on the mound. 1-0. To see a threat to steal, has always had a very high stolen base percentage, and that's true again this year. He's 8 out of 9. Down and away, 2-0. One consolation given his history here, and again, Pena just can we put, does the radar gun work in reverse?
I think Sanchez is throwing about 91, Pena about 104.
2-0. And hit the corner, 2-1. Given Sanchez's history this year, last year, the year before, and in the first inning, he's just as apt to walk Casilla to second base as anything else.
Well, Sanchez making his 128th major league start. He has 39 wins, 49 losses, an ERA about 4.4 in his career. He pitched a no-hitter.
How many walks?
He no-hit the San Diego Padres that back in July of 2009.
3-1 to Span. Revere on deck. Casilla goes, and the pitch fouled at the plate. Now it's 3-2.
Now the Royals held Ben Revere on in the first inning, and Hosmer again looks like he'll be holding on Casilla. 3-2 pitch, 2 outs, and now he's playing behind Casilla.
Yeah, they held Revere in a similar spot in the first inning.
Yeah, because of Willingham, extra base hit, Revere would score.
Full count to Span. And it's ball 4, so Casilla ends up at second base after the walk to Span, the third walk issued by Sanchez. And now Revere, who hit a little nubber up the first baseline and got the first hit of the game for the Twins and ended up being left at third base.
Well, you mentioned, that Sanchez has only pitched 6 innings one time, and you can kind of see why. This will be his 50th pitch already here with 2 outs in the second inning.
Twins left 3 men on in the first inning. Now a couple of men have reached with 2 outs. Casilla takes off, and there will be no throw anywhere. Pena with a clean look at third base with the left-handed batter up there, and he looked at second, and there was nobody covering the bag.
Well, Sanchez didn't pay no attention to Casilla. Look at the running jump he has. And Pena looked at second base. Nobody was there as the trail runner span. You know, you have to wait a little bit. Sometimes they'll throw to second, but nobody was covering the bag. So both Span and Casilla will get stolen bases.
And now fly ball. And Revere, we just said, has done a nice job not doing that. Does it in a key spot. And the Twins have left 5 men on through 2 innings. Divergent performances so far here today in terms of efficiency, and the Arby's value player of the game, Scott Diamond, leading the voting. You can cast your vote, text the word value followed by a space in the player's name to short code 234-234. Scott Diamond and the Twins have hardly been in the field, and the Royals and Jonathan Sanchez have been baking in the sun.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This game's about 40 minutes long, and Twins defense may be out on the field for 10, and the Kansas City Royals a rest.
Here's Pena. Up and away, ball 1. You know, we've talked about that from time to time over the years. It'd be interesting, as they do in football, to list time of possession when you've got the football. When you don't have the football, we'll apply it to baseball. And the Twins would have the advantage. They've only been in the field for about a fourth of the time. 1-1 to Pena. He'll be followed by Bourgeois and Escobar.
That was with Perez on the disabled, as Pena got a lot of playing time, a switch hitter. As a right-handed hitter, Pena hitting .250, as a left-hander 276.
Sharply hit, caught by Casilla. 1 down.
You know, and you're going to see good defensive plays when you're always around the plate like Diamond. Casilla right there ready, because he knows that ball's going to be around the plate, maybe hittable. Casilla takes that pitch, or excuse me, Pena takes that pitch the other way. Casilla diving to his right, makes a nice play.
A couple of sharply hit balls. Butler hit a hot ground ball to Plouffe, that line drive, but and of course Gordon's leadoff single in the first. Here's Bourgeois. A little bit low, ball 1. And a chopper to Plouffe. 2 down. When you've built a reputation, and Diamond clearly has very early on, he's built a reputation of being a strike thrower. Tonight at 6:10, Twins will be wearing some special uniforms, the uniforms of the Minneapolis Millers. vintage 1951. The Kansas City Royals will be playing in Kansas City Blues uniforms, and the first 20,000 fans will get a Miller's pennant. Tickets available for the Turn Back the Clock game are available at 833 Twins, twinsbaseball.com. If you're watching today's game on television, you can see it's a beautiful day at the ballpark. Special night tonight, and it has to be, again, if not the only time, one of the few times that a team has given away a pennant with a different team name on it. I don't know if the Royals ever did it for the Monarchs, maybe, as they paid tribute to their great Negro League heritage. But I've seen a lot of the Miller caps and T-shirts around. Just because we didn't have Major League Baseball in this area before 1961 doesn't mean we didn't have some really good baseball players here professionally.
Yes, there were.
3-0 to Escobar.
Guys like Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays.
Okay, 3-1. Orlando Cepeda. Trying to think of the name of the restaurant. I met Monty Irvin years ago, and he talked about playing for the Millers and how he would go to, I think it was the Flame Room, a steakhouse that wasn't too far from the ballpark. And as I said, Scott Diamond, a strike thrower, and he walks the number 9 batter.
Yeah, rare walk, just his 10th walk of the season.
Well, the Millers and the Saints over in St. Paul had prepared this area for Major League Baseball at Nicollet Park. And you could probably get in for a buck or two back then.
Yeah, back from 1946 to 1960, they were a AAA ball club, American Association.
Doma with a nice block. Escobar goes to second nevertheless. So Escobar draws the walk, and he scampers to second on a ball that was actually blocked pretty nicely by Doman. Wild pitch charge to Diamond.
Yeah, for Scott Diamond, his 3rd wild pitch of the year. And Escobar gets in a scoring position with 2 outs.
I think they've given a stolen base to Escobar. I don't think he took off until the pitch was in the dirt. 1-0 to Gordon. Chopper to first. Diamond to the bag. Mauer flips it to him. That ends the threat. Escobar left at second base. And it took Diamond all of 12 pitches to get through the 3rd. Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. By CenturyLink, a different kind of communications company. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Grand Casino, the best stories start here. No score going to the bottom of the third inning. Twins have had some opportunities to score, haven't broken through yet. Against Jonathan Sanchez, Maurer will lead off the third. And he takes up and in, ball one. Maurer called out on strikes in the middle of the most serious threat for the Twins. They left the bases loaded in the first, and they might have scored if not for the called third strike. And now 2-0. 53 pitches for Sanchez and only 27 strikes.
Yeah, 3 walks in a ball game, 3 strikeouts. He's given up a couple hits, both of them infield hits.
Stroke to right, and Maurer with a solid single to right leading off the third inning. First time that the Twins have gotten their leadoff man aboard. And that'll bring up Josh Willingham. Willingham drew a walk on a 3-2 pitch, and then Plouffe walked to fill the bases. And Sanchez survived it all by striking out Ryan Doman. Inside, ball one to Willingham. Sanchez has given up 3 hits. He's allowed 3 walks. And now 2-0.
Well, up here in the booth we have Brian and Heidi Fleur from Stanley, North Dakota. They're celebrating their 28th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Great number, and you are hereby circled. Happy anniversary to you, two lovebirds.
Pulled foul. And it's 2-1.
Got to be hard to hit against a guy like Sanchez, though, because he's all over the place. You want to go up there and have patience, but you also have to look for that one certain pitch that you can drive. He's been all over the place.
I was just looking up Stanley, North Dakota. It's way out there. That's a long haul for them to get here today to watch Twins baseball. It's up in the northwestern part of North Dakota. It's going to be about 5 miles west of Palermo. No? Like that'll help. Outside, and Willingham's drawn his second walk.
Another walk, number 4 for Sanchez.
Here comes Plouffe. You can ask us a question at carsoup.com/baseball. Mark Steele of Crosby, Minnesota. I know where that is. Some very unpleasant athletic memories in Crosby. We'll discuss that in another day. Well, that's true. Does a manager have to handle his pitching staff differently during a doubleheader? Well, it's different now than it has been, because on these split doubleheader days, teams are allowed 1 extra player. And the Twins called up Cole DeVries to make the start tonight. Here's Plouffe. Ripped down the left field line toward the corner. Fair into the corner. Maurer's going to score. Willingham to third, and Plouffe cracks a double to put the Twins on the board.
Well, that's the big hit we were talking about it for Trevor Plouffe in his first at bat. Pick up some RBIs other than pick him up by the home run. Plouffe with the double, picking up his 28th RBI. Got a pitch up, a fastball, and pulled it right into that corner here at Target Field. One hopping the fence. Gordon gets it back in. Maurer scores the first run for the Twins. And there's a couple runners on, second and third with nobody out for Ryan Doman.
Doman called out on strikes his first time up, and he pops it up. Hosmer chasing it down the line, and a long sprint. And he got there in the general vicinity of it. A good hustle by Eric Hosmer. 1 strike. Now, the Royals have gone in a different direction with their one-day exemption and their allowance of one extra player. They brought up a relief pitcher that they intend to possibly use in one or both games. That's to center. It'll be deep enough to score the run. It'll chase Bourgeois back. And Plouffe will advance from second to third.
Yeah, very productive RBI right there by Ryan Domet, taking Bourgeois all the way to the warning track and straight away center. So Domet picks up his 34th RBI. And on the play, like you mentioned, Dick, that ball deep enough allows Trevor Plouffe to go from second to third.
And that'll leave the table set for Mastroianni as the Royals bring the infield in.
Well, you saw the power right there of Domet. I mean, that ball looked like he just one-handed it, but hit it to deep center. Willingham scores the second run of the inning.
Swing and a miss, one strike. Mastroianni with a fly to right his first time up. If he hits the same ball here, he'll get a run batted in. Mastroianni filling the role of the fourth outfielder, if you will, for the Twins. A guy who used to fill that role, Lou Ford, might find himself with the Baltimore Orioles here real soon. He's doing well at AAA for them.
Well, Mastroianni, like Ben Revere, like Denard Span, center fielders by trade, can cover a lot of ground.
Fouled back, and it's 1-2. Sanchez has a couple of strikeouts, in fact 3 of them, and he'd love to bear down and get Mastroianni here with Plouffe at third and 1 down. One and 2. And now 2-2.
Sanchez has thrown some pitches he's not even close. We've seen Pena, have to get some balls at right-handed hitters. I mean, over the left-handed hitter's batter's box. That breaking ball left high.
Just missed the corner. He's tried to snap one over and get a called third strike like he did with
Ryan Domet
in the first inning.
Yeah, and remember the previous pitch was kind of a spinner that was up in the zone. So the inconsistency of his release point has really been a problem for Sanchez.
Full count to Mastroianni. And he takes a walk.
Walk number 5 in a ball game.
Dave Island may come out to try to separate Pena and Sanchez. It's been an exasperating afternoon for Brian Pena trying to catch Jonathan Sanchez.
Well, you see where he drops the ball, his foot lands, and then here comes the arm. And that arm right now is all over the place. Everything left up in the zone. Not really bending his back. You look at what he did right there, and then you watch Scott Diamond, the way that he really follows through with that left arm. And this guy, it's not like he's a rookie. This guy has been in the big leagues for a while. He's with the Giants for 6 seasons. But like you mentioned, Dick, he has a track record of being all over the place.
Big at bat here for Dozier as he tries to bottom out and climb out of a slump that has lasted about a month.
Yeah, the infield playing back, the middle infield looking for the double play ball.
Strike one. Goes Mastroianni, and here's a pop-up to short center. Mastroianni's got to hustle back. Plouffe setting up for a tag. Bourgeois comes up with the throw, and Plouffe is tagged out. A strong throw by Bourgeois. Plouffe is tagged out, and the Twins get a couple in the third.
Took a perfect throw, and it's exactly what Bourgeois did.
for one thing, Brian Pena is built like a brick fish house, and Denard Span knows all about that.
Right.
And Plouffe actually kind of got off a little light here, even though the tag was pretty hard.
Yeah, as a catcher, I'm sure you get that ball, you don't care where you hit the potential runner. You just try to get that and tag him out wherever you have to get him. And that's a good play by Steve Little, sending him right there. It took a perfect throw to get him.
Here's Yuniesky Betancourt facing Scott Diamond, who now has a 2-0 lead. Last year, Denard Span in Kansas City was trying to get an inside the park home run, and he ran into and then bounced off of Brian Pena, and that's when his concussion problem surfaced. 1-0 to Betancourt. 2-0. Betancourt, Moustakas, and Butler here in the Kansas City 4.
Diamond got to get back to throwing strike one. First 2 innings, 6 for 6 with strike ones.
Fell behind Escobar 3-0, ended up walking him toward the end of the 3rd inning, and now it's 3-0 to Betancourt.
Yeah, 5 straight batters he's fallen behind in the count.
There's a strike on the outside corner.
In his last game, again, only 82 pitches in 8 very good innings, a career high for Diamond, but he faced 30 batters. He was strike one on 26 of the 30 batters.
Roller, stopped by Plouffe, sets himself, fires to get him. A good play by Trevor Plouffe.
I was talking to Ron Gardenhire this morning in his meeting, and we were talking about Trevor Plouffe. He likes the feet work of Trevor Plouffe, of rather than stepping across, you kind of skip across to make plays like that, and that's exactly what Plouffe did right there. Nice defensive play, diving to his left.
I didn't hear the discussion, but it sounds like the very thing the Twins were working with Danny Valencia on, increasing his lateral range. Here's a fly to center field, Span under it, and Moustakas is a quick second out. Billy Butler will hit next, but we'll take a look at our Sanford Health injury report, and those are the 4 Kansas City pitchers in varying degrees. The Royals were counting on all 4 this year, and none of the 4 are going to survive the season.
Yeah, all going to have the Tommy John or have had the Tommy John surgery. That's tough for a young organization like the Royals. So much talent in their offense. They were relying on some pitchers to step up, and 4 of them have to be out the rest of the year due to Tommy John.
In Soria's case, it's his second Tommy John surgery.
They're running out of ligaments.
I was telling somebody the other day that's one of the reasons why I would have kept R.A. Dickey around here. He didn't have an ulnar collateral ligament. Yeah. You can't tear something you don't have. Forget the fact that he's a knuckleballer and he's won 12 games or whatever. He'd never have the Tommy John surgery. Butler now with a 2-1 count, and you can complain all you want about Diamond's first pitch strikes, and you look up there, he's on the verge of finishing the 4th inning with less than 40 pitches, and he's thrown 24 strikes.
Yeah, no strikeouts, 1 walk, works both sides of the plate. Domet sitting outside, and that's where that pitch is. You talk to catchers that catch a pitcher like Diamond, they say when they catch a ball game, they feel like they're sitting in a rocking chair. Quite the difference what Pena's had to feature with Sanchez on the mound.
He's been on a tilt-a-whirl. There's a drive to right field. Now 40 pitches through 4 innings for Scott Diamond, and he's leading 2-0. entertainment plans are this afternoon. We're glad you're including Twins baseball in your day. And the Twins have a 2-0 lead. Alexi Casilla will lead things off for the Twins in the fourth.
Well, Sanchez starting his fourth inning of work. He's thrown 70 pitches, 36 for strikes, 5 walks in the ball game.
There's a push bunt. What a play by Betancourt, but he throws wildly, and Casilla will go to second base. Betancourt anticipated that Casilla might try what he ended up trying, and he made a nice fielding play, but then fired it wide.
Well, it's got to be tough as a first baseman when Betancourt was not that far away from him. And then Betancourt, kind of underhands his ball very quickly to Hosmer and throw a little bit up the line. Casilla should get an infield bunt base hit, and then the error by Betancourt allows him to go to second base. That throw just off the mark. Good effort. But Casilla at second with nobody out.
So Casilla has a couple of infield hits now. Span takes a strike, and he looks back at Jerry Meals. Span drew a walk, stole a base in the second. Twins have had one threat after another, and yet through it all, Ned Yost has not activated his bullpen at all. It's just a 2-0 game, but with some clutch hits along the way, it could be 5-6-0 already. And of course, the reason that he hasn't activated the bullpen is the two teams have another game tonight. Span with a fly to left, the walk in the second inning. Popped up near second base. Betancourt with a catch and a frustrating at bat for Denard Span.
Yeah, you want every at bat to be a productive at bat, especially in situations like that. And Span knew what his job was, try to pull that ball. And he ended up popping up for the first out, as Casilla has to stay at second.
That'll bring up Revere, who singled up the first baseline in the first, and then a couple of men aboard in scoring position. Revere hit a rarity for him, a fly ball to the outfield. Whoa! And Revere took one under the chin.
Remember last inning with Willingham up, I said it's probably uncomfortable facing a guy like this because he's all over the place. Well, you start looking over the plate, and all of a sudden he does that.
Remember last year, Revere got hit in the jaw, or 2 years ago. Casilla dives back to the bag. So we'll see if Revere can pick Span up here. Hit to the outfield, should score Casilla. Pitch is up, 2-0. And a 4-pitch walk, and it's hard to walk Ben Revere, and Sanchez did it on 4 pitches.
Yeah, his 6th walk of the ball game.
The next Crystal Farms Kids Day is tomorrow. The Twins hosting the Royals. You can get to the game early for Kids Day autographs and free string cheese, courtesy of Crystal Farms. After the game, kids can run the bases here at Target Field, presented by Gillette Children's Hospital. Tickets and more details available on Sunday's Crystal Farm Kids Day at twinsbaseball.com or call 800-33-TWINS. Well, it is 2-0, but the Twins have allowed Sanchez to escape bigger trouble. See what the middle of the lineup can do about that here in the fourth. And a breaking ball, and for the 28th time, Pena goes to the mound. This is a breaking pitch, and it was nowhere near the plate.
It's trying to throw a slider right there and just up and in on Joe Mauer.
That pitch will trigger some activity in the Kansas City bullpen. And first man up out of the bullpen is Vin Mazzaro. Kind of a swing man for the Royals, a starter or a reliever. One and 0 to Mauer. And again a steal of third by Casilla. This time Revere holds his ground at first.
Yeah, second time that Casilla has stole third base. He did it in the second inning. Got a good jump. Pena's throw to Moustakas late. Twins steal their third base of the ball game off of Sanchez.
1-1 to Mauer. Swing and a foul. So here's what we've seen in his first appearance against the Twins. Jonathan Sanchez doesn't throw strikes, and he doesn't hold runners.
And everything hit is in the air. No ground ball outs.
1-2 to Mauer. Mauer did strike out against Sanchez in a key spot in the first inning. 2-2.
He struck him out on that hard slider out over the plate. Box track showed as a bit outside. "81 pitches in 3 1/3 innings for Sanchez. 6 walks, 3 strikeouts. He's given up 5 hits.
2-2.
And it's only a 2-0 game.
Bounce to first. They come home, and Pena with another tag on Casilla. 2 down.
Yeah, second time in this game the runner has been thrown out at second base. And Casilla tried to just put his hands together and barrel over Pena to see if maybe he could jar the ball loose. Pena holding on to it and holding his ground. Hosmer just jumps off the bag and then throws a strike to Pena. Pena has plenty of time to set up. And Casilla trying to force the ball loose the best he can. When you run into a wall, you want to slow down a little bit first. It's not going to hurt as bad.
Hosmer might have been able to go 3-6-3 and get out of the inning, but he chose to go home. Here's Willingham, who's walked twice against Sanchez. Willingham with a big cut. 1 strike. Twins need to.
They need a 3-run home run right here.
I mean, this start has been an absolute disaster for Sanchez and the Royals, and as you said, it's just a 2-0 ball game. Willingham walked and scored when the Twins had a 2-run third inning. They'll need a 2-out hit here in the fourth. Bounce to third. Moustakas has it. And the Royals and Sanchez escape trouble again in the fourth. It's still just a 2-0 ball game. Well, if not for the brick wall the Royals put up at home plate, it'd be 4-0.
I'll tell you what, the Twins have been able to put runners on. They have not been able to drive in many. 8 men left on base, 5 hits. They've taken 6 walks, and it's just a 2-0 ball game. Scott Diamond out there for his 5th inning. This will be his 41st pitch.
And it's a line to left, and Willingham, or Mastrani rather, comes in, makes the catch and left. Nice sliding catch and another first pitch out.
Well, I mentioned before, Mastrani, and he's a center fielder. He can cover some ground. Does a good job of reading this ball. Hesitates a second, and then comes in hard and makes a nice sliding catch. Good concentration as the ball hits his glove for the first out. So another quick out for Scott Diamond. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Eric Hosmer will hit, and he takes ball 1. Last night in Seattle, Boston's Aaron Cook, sinker baller by trade, threw a 2-hit shutout of the Mariners, and he threw 80 pitches. Well, Diamond's on a similar pace here so far. He's averaging he is averaging 10 pitches per inning pitched. And he's given up just 1 hit so far to the first batter he faced. 1-1 to Hosmer. It's lifted down the left field line toward the seats and into them.
Again, Scott Diamond's not an overpowering pitcher. He's not going to blow you away, but boy, can he hit his spots. Just changes speeds from 87 to 91. No 2 fastballs usually are the same speed.
1-2. Line to the first baseman, Mauer, 2 away. AT&T trivia. Now I think we got all 3 prongs of a pitchfork answer last night, so I think we got a carryover today. Who was the last Twins rookie pitcher to lead the team in wins? I'm going to go with a Twins Hall of Famer. There's Brian Pena. Did you lead the team? No, you couldn't have. 1970, Jim Perry won 24 games.
And he won the Cy Young that year.
1 strike to Pena.
The first Twins Cy Young award.
Jim Cott would have won one in, 1966? And I think that was the last year that they had just 1 Cy Young award for both leagues.
And Sandy Koufax won it.
Kitty won 25 games that year. Now only 8 pitches needed in the 5th inning. And Diamond goes 1, 2, 3 again.
For the home team, we are standing in the Minnesota State Lottery winner's circle. $100 in scratch-off tickets. A couple of former college students from Milwaukee Again, parallelograms are a little over my head. Bert's going to circle you. I'm not really sure what a parallelogram is, but Lynn and Sarah, you guys are going to win $100 in scratch-off tickets. Do you have a favorite twin?
Joe Mauer.
A little crush on Joe Mauer. The best seats in the house here, guys. Right in center field on this gorgeous day. The ladies are working on their suntan with that parallelogram in tow. We'll get them $100 in scratch-off tickets from our friends at the Minnesota State Lottery.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I barely know what a circle is. What's a parallelogram? You have any idea? You have your son Eric here. He
I know he
knows.
He's a more recent math student than I am. Geometry. One strike to Trevor Plouffe. Doubled in a run in the third inning. And he hooks one foul. Parallelogram, I'm guessing, is a four-sided shape where the two sides are parallel. Technically,
right.
A square would be a parallelogram, right? Okay.
That's what Eric just drew me, too.
Yeah, swing, and Plouffe's gone on strikes, one away.
The fourth strikeout for Sanchez.
Go behind the scenes for the making of the new Vikings cheerleader swimsuit calendar. Let's get to know the ladies making up this year's team. Watch the making of the Vikings swimsuit calendar Monday at 9:30 on Fox Sports North. Pitch is a called strike to Ryan Domit, who was called out in the first, and he hit a fly ball to center for a sacrifice fly in the third.
Yeah, the sacrifice fly scored Josh Willingham. Also advanced Trevor Plouffe from second to third, but that's where he was left standing in that two-run third inning.
Bouncer up the middle. Plouffe has a base hit, or Domit has a base hit with one out in the fifth. And that'll bring up Mastroianni.
Yeah, Twins pick up their sixth hit of the ball game.
Mastroianni walked his last time up. And then Dozier hit a fly ball that turned into a double play with Plouffe being tagged out at the plate. A bunt, foul, one strike. And Moustakas was coming in on the grass. Sanchez will be a free agent after this year. One of the reasons the Giants felt he was expendable, he did not fit into their long-term plans anyway. Ripped to left, a base hit. Domit rounds second. He'll not challenge Gordon's arm, and there'll be runners at first and second with one away.
Mastroianni picking up his first hit, puts a couple runners on with one out.
And that brings up Dozier in another key spot.
Oh, fastball right there. Mastroianni lining it in the left field. Seventh hit for the Twins, 6 singles, and the double by Trevor Plouffe.
Dozier hit the fly ball to short center. Bourgeois caught the fly ball and then threw out Plouffe at the plate. And Dozier with a chance for redemption here, first and second, one out. Side nearly hit him. That one is going to spin back into fair territory. Safe. And here comes the runner home. Domit scoring. No one covered home plate. Brian Dozier hit a spinner off the end of the bat. It was 5 feet foul at one point. And he'll get a hit. He'll get a run batted in.
That's why you come to the ballpark. I have never seen a ball go this far foul. Right up. It's not even off the end of the bat. I don't know what created the spin, but it spun back, and then Pena tried to underhand it over to Hosmer at first base. And, of course, Pena leaving home plate. Steve Little telling Ryan Domit, just keep going as nobody's at home plate.
Has In the history of this game, anyone ever driven a runner in from second base on a ball like that? Here's Casilla, a bunt single and another infield hit. Bottom line, it's 3-0, and the Twins get a key hit.
Dozier getting an infield base hit with a runner at second and picking up an RBI. That's awesome.
Now you could see that possibly happening on artificial turf. You know, because you hit a spinner and it's going to get into the grains of the turf. But to do it on a natural grass field. And credit Dozier, he had the alertness once he saw it spinning in the grass toward fair territory. He took off. Garcia moves his hand up the back barrel and then takes strike one. Three straight 1-out hits here in the fifth. Mastroianni again dives back to second base.
Well, Casilla stole third base twice already in the ballgame. Mastroianni with very good speed.
Wow. Almost to the backstop. 1-1.
.96 pitches for Sanchez in 4 1/3 innings. 6 walks, 4 strikeouts. 53 strikes.
It's like he's been playing dodgeball for an hour and a half. There have been guys on base all night long. Every pitch he's thrown seemingly, you know, could terribly impact the game for him with all these men on base. 1-1 to Casilla. There go the runners again, and it's to be a double steal. The Twins have stolen 5 bases in 5 innings, and the only thing that I think that has kept them from executing 3 double steals was Revere not taking off in the 4th inning.
Yeah, again, you know, it looks like Sanchez only looks back once, and then here goes Mastroianni and Pena wanting to throw the ball to second base. Escobar was there, but Pena did not throw because of the great jump that Dozier had.
Infield in, and the count is 2-1 to Casilla. Rip to left. Finally, the Twins get a big hit with men on base. 2 more will score. Casilla's 3rd hit of the ball game, and it's 5-0. So 4 straight hits from the bottom 4 batters in the Twins lineup.
Well, Sanchez has been walking on a tightrope since the first pitch of this ball game, and I think he finally fell off. Fastball right there. Casilla, a 2-run double down that left field corner. It's a 5-0 Twins lead.
1 out and Span to the plate.
Keep an eye on Casilla at second base.
I think he's going to walk Span first, then they'll boo the double steal again. Ball 1. Two walks in the first, a walk in the second, 2 walks in the third, a walk in the fourth. The one thing he hasn't done here in the fifth is walk anybody. 1-1 to Span. I think we have been given ample evidence as to why he's only completed 6 innings once this year.
100 pitches right now for Sanchez.
And he's had 2 outs recorded at home plate. Base hit center field. Casilla will be rounding third and heading home. Bourgeois with a short throw. This time Casilla goes in head first and scores. It's 6-0. So Bourgeois, who delivered a strong throw to the plate, back in the second inning, comes up with a really short throw here, and that'll be the end of the day finally for Jonathan Sanchez.
Yeah, Ned Yost, the manager, on his way out to take out Sanchez, and Bernard Span softly hitting it into center field, and Casilla with his speed, a head first dive. He scores the 4th run of the inning for the Twins as they take a 6-0 lead.
Thought Casilla might have hurt his finger diving in, but he tapped the plate and wanted to make sure he didn't get stepped on. Yet, from tomorrow to Thursday, you can vote for the final player for each league roster. Check twinsbaseball.com tomorrow and see who made the team, and vote for who should get the final spot on each league roster.
Well, Ben Mazzaro coming in out of that bullpen. He's made 5 starts for the Royals this year in 6 appearances. This is his 2nd stint with the Royals. He started the season in AAA, called up in early May, then optioned out about a week later, and then recalled in the latter part of May. Mazzaro in his 2nd season with the Royals, also pitched for the Oakland A's for a couple years.
Here's Revere. And there's strike 1. Revere with a single and a walk. Nice force play at second, and Revere will reach in the fielder's choice. Pretty good play by Escobar in the hole on a hard 2-3 hopper off the bat of Ben Revere.
Yeah, very nice play to be that athletic, to be able to make a play like that. Watch him go to his right, and then all in one motion as that left foot is touching the ground right there. He spins and makes a nice throw over to Betancourt for the force out of Span. Nice defensive play.
Now Mauer 1 for 3 on the day. At the knees, a strike. A 4 spot in the 5th inning. And some speed at first with Ben Revere. Regarding Sanchez, who gave up 5 stolen bases and 3 steals of third base, it's not like he completely ignored the runners. He threw to the bases. He faked a number of throws to second base. Here's Mauer with a liner, scooped up by the third baseman Moustakas, and the defense had him played well. Mauer denied a hit, but the Twins score 4 times in the 5th.
Second game of your Saturday doubleheader. Coverage beginning at 6 p.m. A very warm day. Mixed clouds and sunshine. First pitch temperature at 87 degrees. Winds out of the north 4 to 8 miles per hour. Look for a spotty thunderstorm in the area after the game.
That'd be a shame if you had a long rain delay tonight.
Just another game. What else am I going to do?
Well, you could do what I'm doing. I'm going to the Chicago concert at Treasure Island tonight.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Good for you.
My favorite group. I'm looking forward to the evening. It looks as if we'll be going to the concert after a Twins win here in the afternoon game. It's now 6-0.
And Scott Diamond has done everything he can. 5 shutout innings so far. This will be only his 50th pitch. And here we are in the 6th inning. I want to say happy 71st wedding anniversary to Erwin and Pearl Peterson from Bellingham, Minnesota, near the South Dakota border.
Chopper charged by Plouffe. He fires. And Bourgeois, who showed off his speed last night, gets an infield hit. It's just the second Kansas City hit against Scott Diamond. U.S. Bank proud to present Armed Forces Appreciation Day tomorrow. Twins hosting the Royals for the series finale. Get to the ballpark early for the 1:10 start and a special pregame tribute to women in the military. Tickets are available tomorrow. Call 800-33-TWINS or go to twinsbaseball.com.
You know, Dick, I don't think that any third baseman could make that play. What Trevor Plouffe tried to do right there. I mean, that's a nice play by Plouffe. Come running in right here. He's playing back and all in one motion able to flip that ball over to first.
There's Billy Butler running. He might have thrown him out.
Right. Bourgeois just too quick.
Here's Escobar taking ball 1. We've had 2 left-handed starting pitchers in this first game today, and they've been polar opposites in terms of how they go about their business. Diamond throws strikes. Sanchez does not, at least not nearly the percentage that Diamond does. And in the rare times when the Royals have had runners on, Diamond doing a much better job of holding those runners on. He's got a 6-0 lead. You wouldn't anticipate Bourgeois taking off here, but he'll throw over there nonetheless.
Bourgeois with good speed. 1 stolen base in 3 attempts.
One and one. Royals got a leadoff hit. Their only other hit came leading off the ball game. And then Diamond, a couple pitches later, got a ground ball double play. 1-2.
Well, Diamond making his 11th start, his 18th major league start. And in those 11 starts, first 10, he's 6-3 with an ERA coming into the game at 2.67.
That gets by Domit, and Bourgeois will go to second.
We'll see how they roll that. Looked like it hit off of Doman's glove. Might be a pass ball.
Wild pitch.
Wild pitch.
So a runner at second, nobody out.
Second wild pitch in the ball game for Diamond.
Bouncer to third. Plouffe over to Mauer with a stretch at the end, 1 away. CenturyLink high-speed pitch.
Well, Scott Diamond 5 1/3 innings of shutout baseball. See how high he's been throwing at 91 and Sanchez at 92.
Here is Gordon. A solid single to center to start the ball game, and then he was doubled up by a Betancourt ground ball. Strike 1.
Good breaking ball there to get ahead in the count.
coming into the 6th inning. Diamond had faced one man over the minimum. Royals left a runner on in the 3rd after the 2-out walk, and wild pitch to Escobar. Just off the inside corner, 1-1. Liner to right field, a base hit. Bourgeois will go to 3rd and be held there. So Gordon has his 2nd hit, and the Royals, for the first time in the game, have a couple of runners aboard with 1 out.
Yeah, Bourgeois had to hold up because this ball looked like it might have been able to be caught by Casilla, but it's too far over his head.
Second baseman,
A little cutter right there. And Gordon going down and hitting it sharply into right field.
Effectiveness aside, we've talked a little bit about Diamond's mechanics, and to the interested observer, but nothing more than an observer, it seems like his mechanics would encourage durability, if that makes any sense. And what I'm trying to say is, unlike Liriano's mechanics, when the Twins acquired him, I think they acquired him with the notion at some point he's going to break down. Something's going to happen mechanically. He isn't very sound. Diamond looks like a textbook example of, following through, bending your back, all the things you talk about, which hopefully will keep him healthy.
Well, you see that right shoulder, he keeps that shoulder up, and then the left arm comes whipping through. That's what I was talking about, bending his back, to where we showed Sanchez earlier in the ball game. He kind of stands up when he releases that ball toward home plate. So the good follow through, really let your arm go through your body and all the way to the catcher's glove.
2-0 now to Betancourt. Bounced into a double play in the 1st. Hit a ground ball to 3rd in the 4th. See if they can turn it. And they'll just get 1 on a close play. And it was a hot ground ball hit to Plouffe, and it should have been a double play.
Yeah, Plouffe a little upset right there. He knows that that's a double play ball, and the ball kind of came out of his glove. They do get an out. The Royals do put a run on the board. It's a 6-1 ball game. And on the play, Gordon goes from 1st to 2nd.
So it's 6-1, and here's Moustakas. Moustakas with some pop. His first 12 home runs this year were against right-handed pitchers. Finally got a lefty earlier in the week. Hit a home run against Tampa Bay's Matt Moore.
Moustakas, one of the young studs in that Kansas City lineup, just 23 years old. Royals' #1 pick in 2007 out of Southern California.
1 strike. Stopped by Casilla. Throws him out.
Nice play.
And Moustakas hits the ball hard. Diamond gives up a couple of hits. And the first Kansas City run. Coors Light Freeze Cam. Trevor Plouffe remembering this play with Brian Pena.
Well, Bergeron making a very nice throw home. This in the third inning, and Trevor Plouffe is tagged out at home plate as Pena applying the tag.
That was the Frost Brew Coors Light Freeze Cam. Twins leading 6-1. Josh Willingham will lead off the sixth against Vin Mazzaro. Willingham walked a couple of times, hit a ground ball to third, and he takes out the outside corner, strike one. One and one. Talked about this last night with Domet signing a 2-year extension. Domet's contract runs concurrent with Josh Willingham's now, who has 2 years after this year. Jamie Carroll has certainly been everything the Twins could have hoped for, both in terms of providing some stability in the middle infield, ability to move them around as the need arises. So as the position players were brought in here, 1, 2, 3, it's pretty apparent that that has not been the problem for the Twins this year.
No.
So now you hope, as they try to address things perhaps in advance of next year, that they can have that kind of good fortune and expertise in bringing in some new pitching.
Well, you know, the sad part is it's not only the Twins that are looking for starting pitching. There's just not a lot out there.
This one hit deep down the right field line, but foul.
Well, we showed last night the Yankees. I mean, they're in duress right now because of Pettit and CC Sabathia going down. Andy Pettit and Sabathia.
Their hope is that Freddie Garcia rather, is going to be one of the key guys for them, bridging the gap till when those guys are healthy. Off the glove of Moustakas, and Willingham has a hit, leading off the sixth inning.
Well, Moustakas may have saved an extra base hit right there, diving to his right. Took a little vicious hop up, and he's able to knock it down. But Willingham picks up his first hit right down that third baseline. Moustakas diving over there, and the ball slowed up. Twins get their 11th hit of the ball game. For Mazzaro, his first hit allowed.
Plouffe with an RBI double, driving in the first run of the game in the third. A double play grounder. Moustakas fires it to Betancourt quickly. The Royals turn it 2 down. That'll bring up Domet. Well, the Yankees today are starting Hideki Kuroda, and the Yankees have scored a few runs against Jake Peavy, but importantly, White Sox can't score any runs for Peavy. The White Sox can, and it's a 4-0 Yankee lead in the 7th inning. Down and away to Domet, now hitting as a left-handed batter. Domet takes a strike. We would expect Domet to be in the designated hitter spot in the second game after catching the first. High fly to right center field. Retreating is Francoeur, and that ends the inning. Twins, for the first time today, send just 3 men to the plate.
Twins had opportunities early. Now it's behind Scott Diamond. A double play was turned in the first inning off the bat of Betancourt. Twins left 8 men on in the first 4 innings. Finally, they broke open against Jonathan Sanchez in the 5th inning by scoring 4 runs on a play that you may never see again off the bat of Brian Dozier.
It'll look like a 3-hopper into right field in the newspaper tomorrow, right?
Hey, an infield base hit with an RBI with a man on second.
Well, not lost in the score is the fact that Scott Diamond's ready to start the 7th inning with just 64 pitches thrown. And on a day when the Twins have a split doubleheader, can't be sure of what they're going to get from Cole DeVries in the start tonight. Diamond might have an opportunity to pitch a complete
game. You can blare it out if you want. Sure.
All one.
Oh, he went 8 innings at a career high in his last start, and again the pitch count: 6 pitches in the first, 11 in the second, 12 in the third, 11 in the fourth, 8 in the 5th, and 16 he needed. My goodness, he had a long inning last time out.
A fly to right, playable for Revere. Butler retired.
And 2 pitches into this inning, he's able to get the first out.
AT&T trivia. I'm going to go with Brad Radke.
That's my thought. That's why who thought did that.
Glenn Perkins with 12 wins, who watched Brad Radke pitch an awful lot as he was going through the University of Minnesota and pitching for Stillwater High School. Francoeur with a couple of outfield flies. He's just taken strike 1 from Diamond. And now 2 strikes.
Now you see Kansas City, they came in, they're a very good hitting ball club. They've won 4 in a row. They've not yet won 5 in a row this year. And looks like they hopefully will not do that here today against the Twins, but they have not really squared up a lot of balls against Mike Diamond. There's been a couple of line drive outs off of Scott Diamond, and he picks up his first strikeout of the ball game there. Gets Francoeur to chase a breaking ball down.
Saturday, August 4th, the UFC returns to Fox with 4 massive fights, including knockout artist Shogun Rua taking on Brandon Vera in the biggest fight of his career, plus an epic bout between former UFC champ Lyoto Machida and rising star Ryan Bader.
Good job.
FC Fight Night on Fox, sponsored by Bud Light, live from Los Angeles. Saturday, August 4th at 7 o'clock Central. 2-0. Did you? I mean, this is the other kind of fighting and all that. Are you a boxing guy?
No, never have. But when you channel surf, sometimes that's on,
right.
And I find it interesting that these guys would beat themselves to death in a little ring, and people love it.
Foul back. 2-1 to Eric Hosmer. 0 for 2. Hit the ball hard as last time up, lining out to Mauer at first base. Well, we said at the very outset that in a day when there are 2 games separated by who knows 3 hours, and with an overtaxed bullpen and 4 games with Detroit, 3 with Texas coming up on the next road trip, you need every out you can get from your starting pitcher. Scott Diamond was the perfect guy to start today.
Yeah, he really was. Again, 7 of his first 10 starts have been quality starts, and he's pitched 6 or more innings now in 9 of his 11 starts.
Blocked by Doman.
And he's pitched very well here at Target Field, coming into this ball game in 6 starts here at Target Field. He's making his 6th start. He's 3-1 with a 1.95 ERA here.
Ripped to right. Revere's not going to catch it. He will play the bounce. And Hosmer digs for second. Here's Revere's throw. And it was actually a strong throw. Just a little bit off target. Hosmer took a bit of a gamble, and Revere with one of the strongest throws we've seen him make.
Yeah, that ball hit sharply over his head. Now what Bear Ben has to do is try to play the carom, and he played it perfectly. Hosmer, probably one of the hardest hit balls against Diamond, but makes a good strong throw. Throw short hopping Dozier, but a good effort right there by Ben Revere. And just the 4th hit off the Scott Diamond.
And the first extra base hit. Here's Pena. That's a foul ball, not by much. 1 strike. Tonight, the Royals will send to the mound their hottest pitcher, Luke Hochevar, but he's been very hot and cold throughout his career. And the Twins will send Cole DeVries.
I'm looking forward to watching Cole DeVries pitch, only because he came up, earlier, made 3 starts and made 1 start here. He'll make a 2nd start against the Royals. He beat the Royals in his only major league win. But just all the excitement of being there the first time. I mean, family and friends probably smothered him. This time around, I think it'll be a little more relaxing for him.
2-1.
There's the starters in game 2, starting at 6 o'clock. Luke Hochevar is not allowed a run over his last 2 starts, covering 16 2/3 innings against Cole DeVries, making just his 4th major league start.
This next pitch will be Diamond's 80th. And he hopes it'll be the last pitch of the 7th inning.
And it is.
7 very impressive innings again for Scott Diamond. McDonald's, quench your thirst. Get any size soft drink or sweet tea for just $1. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. 6-1 Twins, time for the Home Depot, doing more on defense.
Well, you don't strike out a lot of batters like Scott Diamond. You need good defense, and he's had it here today. Alexi Casilla getting that line drive off the bat of Pena, and then making the final out in the 6th inning off the bat of Moustakas.
Casilla with a 3-hit game has had a very good first game. Managers typically go into a doubleheader day like this with a game plan for the first game and the second game, and the changes are going to make one lineup to the other. And you wonder whether Casilla, 3 hits today, might work his way into the lineup for the second game.
Well, we've seen before, Dozier struggling a little bit at the plate. Sometimes Jamie Carroll will play short and Casilla will play second. But we'll wait and see what Ron Gardenhire decides for game 2. Let's win this one first.
Mastroianni takes a strike 1 and 2. Half swing, but they said he went. He's gone on strikes, 1 away.
That slider right there, and Mazzaro, starting his second full inning, picks up his first strikeout. Good hard slider down and away. Out of the strike zone, but Mastroianni tagged out for the first out.
Fox Strikes brought to you by Carrier. Dozier's last time up got a hit. And we're just thankful that wasn't his first major league hit. He hit one right off the end of the bat. That was well foul, and it spun its way back into fair territory. 1-1. Now a flare into right center. He's got another hit. Kind of cracked his bat on that one, but hits in his last 2 at bats. And that'll bring up Alexi Casilla. Casilla with an infield hit in the second, a bunt single in the fourth, and then he cracked a 2-run double in the 5th inning. Casilla cracks his bat. He'll go back and get another. Well, no. Looked at the handle of the bat, decided it's still good. 1 strike. Spun back to the net. 2 strikes. Bourgeois moving to left, Gordon out of the game, and Gerard Dyson in center.
Mitch Meyer over at right field celebrating his 30th birthday here today. Takes over for Frank Coor in right field.
And Casilla strikes out. And that's all 2 away. We'll bring up Denard Span. Irving Falou in at shortstop.
So Ned Yost taking a lot of his starters out.
And Mazzaro got the Royals out of the 5th through the 6th into the 7th, and they'll make a pitching change here with 2 away. July 13th, for a limited time, you can get home plate view tickets for just $23. The deal against the A's is available. Log on to twinsbaseball.com or call 800-33-TWINS. And check out some of the other great ticket offers for upcoming games at Target Field. Mentioned that the Twins used the one-game exemption, if you will, to add a player to the roster for Cole DeVries, their starter, in the game tonight. The Royals went a different direction, bringing up a reliever who had been with them earlier this year, Tommy Hotovy.
Yeah, making his third stint this season with the Kansas City Royals. Hotovy, a left-hander at 6'1", about 205. He came up September call-up last year with the Boston Red Sox, and then the Kansas City Royals signed him to a minor league contract over the winter. Making his 6th appearance. He made 8 appearances for the Red Sox last year in relief.
Span with an RBI single his last time up. As it was explained to me by Ron Gardenhire, the player that is called up for this one-day exemption does not necessarily have to be the player that is sent down. So if the Royals wanted to keep a third left-hander up here for the series finale and the balance of the first half of the season before the All-Star break, they could keep Hotovy up here and send someone else down. It wouldn't have to be a pitcher, it could be a position player. 2-0. I just think that's a good rule. There's no reason for these split double headers to completely wipe your pitching staff out for another week and a half. Joe Maddon's still talking about how the Rays were in a slump before last night's game. We're struggling, and he blamed a split doubleheader a couple weeks ago. It just kind of threw everybody off who had to play 2 games in the heat and kind of wore the team down a little bit. There's a strike, 3-1.
Well, plus you don't have to option somebody out, because if you do have to option out, say, an everyday player, that player has to go down for 10 days unless there's an injury before that player can return. This way, it's basically your 26th player right now, and it's not affecting anybody else on that roster.
There goes Dozier, and the Twins steal their 6th base. Actually, Span took ball 4, first and second, and a 2 away for Ben Revere.
Hotovy, a left-hander that kind of reminds you a little bit of other lefties that like to throw from underneath. Tucked in very nicely, and then he'll step toward that first baseline and almost crossfire toward home plate.
Revere singled his first time up. Fastball's up. Pena will go out and talk to this pitcher.
Hotovy getting a chance to pitch at home. Born in Kansas City, Missouri. Still makes his home there. 30-year-old lefty.
Missing inside again, 2-0. Sanchez walked 6 batters in his 4 1/3 innings. Rosario didn't walk anyone, but now Hotovy's walked the first man he faced. 2-1. Towards the second baseman, Betancourt. Revere, close play, is just barely retired. Twins strand a couple in the 7th, and we move to the 8th.
Twins leading 6-1, and this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Another Saturday in the park. Twins trying to make me smile. I'm already thinking about the concert tonight.
Hey, I'm thinking about how well Scott Diamond has pitched in this ball game. 7 very good innings for Scott Diamond. 80 pitches used. Finally picked up a couple strikeouts, both of them coming last inning. On 4 hits, 1 extra base hit that Diamond has allowed. The other 3 singles.
Jason Bourgeois leading things off. Diamond delivers ball 1. And a strike, and we've seen that throughout Diamond's, we'll call it a breakthrough year for the time being. You know, when he misses ball 1, he more often than not backs it up with strike 1.
He's a strike thrower.
2-1. Diamond a career high 8 innings in his last start, hoping to do it again and maybe beyond today. 3-1.
Well, Diamond getting called up in early May in Rochester. He was pitching very well. 4-1 with a 2.6 ERA and 6 starts. So you combine that with what he's been able to do here. Combined 10 wins, 4 losses, and ERA at 2.65. And he walks his second batter of the ball game.
Walked the number 9 batter in the 3rd. Now he walks the number 8 batter. Now that the NBA draft is over, how will the Minnesota Timberwolves approach free agency? Read Joan Neeson's story at foxsportsnorth.com. Escobar was walked back in the 3rd inning. Here's Diamond pitching to the Royals in the 8th. Quite a contrast from in yesterday's game and even in the Chicago White Sox series. Number 9 batter has only faced Diamond twice tonight, and he's pitching in the 8th inning. It's Irving Falou, the batter, and a bouncer foul.
Yeah, Ned Nost letting some of these young kids get some at bats. Falou in his second stint with the ball club this year. Started the season down in Omaha, the AAA affiliate for the Royals. Got called up when Betancourt got put on a disabled list in early May.
Chopper to 3rd. Plouffe looks at second. Throws across to Maurer to 1 down. And that'll bring up Gerard Dyson. So 1 out in the 8th. 88 pitches thrown.
11 ground ball outs now for Scott Diamond. 7 fly ball outs to go with his 2 strikeouts.
Up and away, ball 1. Bourgeois at second with 1 down.
Yeah, 12 ground ball outs. Yeah, you want Diamond to go that complete game. He's got to get through this inning quickly.
Liner to left. And a base hit. And Mastroianni fires the ball back into second base. So now first and third, 1 down for Betancourt. Betancourt's bounced into 1 double play. He should have bounced into another in the 6th inning.
Fastball away. And Dyson just slapping that ball into left field.
Betancourt hit a ground ball to Casilla for a double play in the first, and then with runners at first and third, 1 out, identical situation to what we have here. He hit a hard 2-hopper right at Plouffe, who bobbled it. They were only able to get the 1 out, and that's how the Royals got their run. And he pokes one into left for an RBI base hit. So it's a 6-2 ball game. And that might cause the phone to ring in the Twins pen.
Yeah, Betancourt picking up his first hit, driving in his 26th run of the year. Bourgeois scores for the 2nd time in a ball game.
Remember in his last start, here comes Rick Anderson to talk to Diamond.
Well, twofold right here to talk to Diamond, but also whoever's getting up, give them a couple extra throws.
Now remember, in his last start in Cincinnati, he looked so good going into the 8th inning. The Twins had a lead, and then Votto hit a really good pitch the opposite way for a 2-run home run. The Reds had a lead, and Twins fans, I think, all over the upper Midwest were sagging a little bit. And then you brought up a good point, and Diamond followed through on it. He's got to buckle down and get the next 3 guys here and make sure that it stays a 3-2 ball game. He did that, and then sure enough, Willingham came back with a home run that turned the game back around again.
Well, Glenn Perkins is the first one up in the bullpen, and that's good news here in the 8th inning.
Moustakas will hit. Mentioned the Royals have clinched a winning June. The Twins can have a winning June if they win this afternoon and tonight. Way out in front, strike 1.
Good slider right there, good location. What Diamond does so well is he creates that good downward plane by straight over the top, and then that ball working down in the strike zone.
1 strike to Moustakas. One and 1. A little anxiety here because the Royals have scored once, but beyond that, they've got 2 guys on, and now the number 3 batter will be followed by Billy Butler. One and 1. Swings through another breaking ball. That's the breaking pitch that made Votto last Sunday in Cincinnati look so off kilter.
Yeah, almost looks like, I mean, it just, look at the angle. Starts about thigh high, and then Domet catches it almost on the ground.
1 and 2. First base occupied, and Moustakas strikes out number 2.
Boy, and that's what you like to see too, as a young pitcher pitching deep into the ball game and then finding that little extra when he needs it. Another good slider, and Moustakas chases a pitch out of the strike zone. Good tight rotation.
Moustakas doesn't have the resume of Joey Votto, but again, a pretty good left-handed hitter, and Diamond just made him look like he was flailing away at those sliders. A different challenge with the right hand hitting Billy Butler.
He's done a good job against Billy Butler. A ground ball to Plouffe in his first at bat, then a couple fly ball outs to Ben Revere and right.
Ball 1. Yankees beat the White Sox 4-0. White Sox leading that series 2-1. Butler, the 6th batter faced by Diamond. First time he's faced 6 men in an inning today. Because of that and the resulting pitches needed to get through the 8th inning, might be that he'll get 8 innings and no more.
Yeah, 97 pitches right now, 63 for strikes. Most pitches Diamond has thrown in a ball game here this year, 102.
1-1 to Butler. Fastball off the plate, 2-1. Called strike 2-2.
Well, Butler doesn't like that call, but having some words with home plate umpire Jerry Meals.
Keeps it up.
Still barking.
You say he keeps it up, he might not finish the at bat. Butler mashing left-handed pitching, but not today. Blocked by Domet, and the runners will advance. So now it's a full count to Butler, and if he reaches, Meyer, who replaced Jeff Francoeur, would come up as the tying run.
Yeah, another wild pitch for Scott Diamond, his 3rd of the ball game. He had only 2 wild pitches coming into this start. Ball getting away from Domet.
3-2 to Billy Butler.
Stay with us directly after the game for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll break down a big day both in the field and at the plate for Alexi Casilla. 3 hits, a couple of brilliant plays out at second base. We'll also take you through another awesome performance by Scott Diamond, who's established himself as the ace of the staff. 8 strong innings, backing up 8 more innings last week against Cincinnati. We'll take you inside the clubhouse. We'll hear from Ron Gardner, who will talk about hopefully a Twins victory this afternoon in game number 1, and also looking forward to game number 2. And the nice thing for Gardy with the 8 innings by Scott Diamond is the bullpen will be rested, guys.
Well, we thank you very much, and the Twins can thank Scott Diamond for that. Joe Mauer will lead off the bottom of the 8th inning.
Yeah, Rick Anderson talking to Scott Diamond right there. 101 pitches thrown this afternoon by Scott Diamond. 8 very good innings.
You think there's a chance he comes out for the 9th?
No.
Okay. Strike one.
Usually when the pitching coach sits that long next to a pitcher.
I never saw the pat on the back, the handshake, but doesn't mean it didn't happen. 1-1 to Mauer. Two and 1. Mauer, Willingham, and Plouffe. Royals put a little bit of a scare into the Twins and their fans by scoring a run, getting a couple of men in scoring position. Diamond, if he finished his night with a strikeout, or his day with a strikeout of Billy Butler, a fitting end. Nevertheless, the Twins would like to add a run or two here to have a little breathing room in the top of the 9th.
Yeah, Diamond had not picked up a strikeout in the first 6 innings, and in the last couple, 2 each.
Inside, and Mauer will take a walk to start the inning. As you might expect, Royals coming into existence in 1969. There have been a lot of doubleheaders between these two teams, and our Coors Light cold hard fact, the 19th doubleheader, and the first one was in Lou Pinella's rookie season in 1969. And the last one almost 5 years ago. Twins have won 35 games in those doubleheaders. Willingham takes a ball. If it seems odd that the Twins would be leading in this first game of the doubleheader, since this ballpark opened, there have been 4 split doubleheaders, and the Twins are 0-8 in those games. There's a half swing taken for a ball. One and on to Willingham. Twins had 3 split doubleheaders last year and lost all 6 games.
That sweeping breaking ball catching the outer half of the plate.
Assistant to the stats guide here today reminded me the last time that the Twins and Royals played a doubleheader, it was as a result of the I-35 bridge collapse
at the Metrodome. Yeah, when the Twins were there.
2-2. Driven to right, but foul. 2-2 to Willingham. Reached 3 times with a pair of walks and a single. And remember, the Twins the day after the bridge collapse were supposed to have their groundbreaking ceremony for this ballpark, and they had to postpone that given the circumstances. Yeah. Two and two to Josh Willingham. Bouncer towards short. Escobar quickly to second. Boy, what a beautiful double play he started. He went down to a knee and might have skidded, but he got rid of the ball so quickly it didn't look like they were going to get a double play. But Falou starts a 6-4-3 double play.
Yeah, very nice play. Falou taking over last inning. Look at this right there. I mean, from his knees, basically able to put something on the ball for a bang-bang double play. Falou coming down. Nice feed over to Betancourt. And the second double play turned by the Royals here this afternoon.
Here's Trevor Plouffe. Fouled away.
Plouffe hit into a double play in his last at bat in the 6th inning.
1-1. Two and one. And now 2-2. Rick Anderson still talking. Diamond with 8 innings and probably no more.
Yeah, Glenn Perkins back up in the bullpen, so kind of that would let you know that Diamond's day is done.
Deep to left field. And Plouffe connects. RBI double for the team's first run in the 3rd, and now a solo home run in the 8th.
And Trevor Plouffe, his 16th home run of the year. That right now leads the team in home runs. Willingham with 15. And we've seen that pitch down and into Plouffe. He likes that pitch, that uppercut swing. And it's a 7-2 ball game.
Here's Domet. And he taps it foul. Domet with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd, and then a single and a run scored in the 5th. Off the plate. 1-1.
That line drive home run by Trevor Plouffe. 360 feet. For his 16th home run.
That's laced to right center field. Domet's got an extra base hit. Domet with a double with 2 gone here in the 8th. Most of Domet's extra base hits in particular get pulled. This time he lashed one to the gap in right center.
Yeah, ball left out over the plate. They took it right back up the middle, out to right center. So Ryan Domet with his 2nd hit, his 13th double of the year. Splits the gap in right center.
Well, here's Darren Mastroianni. Strike on the outside corner. 1 for 3 afternoon for Mastroianni.
He scored a run in that 4-run 5th inning.
Another strike taken. Breaking pitch gets him. That ends the inning. An insurance run for the Twins on Trevor Plouffe's team-leading 16th home run. great day for Scott Diamond as we look at the Farmers Insurance report card.
Yeah, another A for Scott Diamond. 8 very good innings, only 2 runs allowed. He leaves the ball game with a 7-2 lead, looking for his 7th win of the year. Alexi Casilla not only offensively, but he made some nice defensive plays. And Trevor Plouffe, a couple hits. And we just saw a 16th home run, a line drive home run.
And now Glenn Perkins will try to pitch a uneventful 9th inning. He'll face Meyer, Hosmer, and Pena.
Yeah, Perkins coming in, no save situation here in his 34th relief appearance.
Meyer's first plate appearance, Francoeur had gone 0 for 3. Just off the outside corner. High fly, right center field. Span with the catch. One away, and Jimmy John's delivery of the game goes to the Twins starting pitcher.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Ron Gardenhire was hoping that Diamond would go deep into the ball game, and he was able to do that. One double play turn behind him. That was in the first inning. Gave up 6 hits, a couple runs, and didn't have a strikeout till the 7th inning. Then he struck out a couple in the 7th and a couple in the 8th.
It's under Dozier's glove. Hosmer aboard with a single.
And Hosmer gets his 2nd hit of the ball game.
That'll bring up Ryan Pena.
The catcher, Ryan Pena.
Pena 0 for 3. Has not gotten the ball out of the infield. Ball 1.
I think Pena's a big reason for catching game 1. Salvador Perez, I'm sure, will be behind the plate, but to try to help out Sanchez to get him in the strike zone, unsuccessful this afternoon for Pena. Sanchez worked the first 4 in the 3rd innings. He walked 6.
We'll see you with a catch out number 2. And that'll bring up Bourgeois. Yesterday I had a chance to check with Matt Capps and how he is doing, and his shoulder feels a whole lot better. He got a shot in the shoulder, and he thinks the 15 days will then be followed by the All-Star break, and he is fairly confident that when that is all completed, he'll be ready to go. And the Twins open the 2nd half of the season. Busted bat and a bouncer to short. And the Twins win the opener. Scott Diamond again with a great outing for the Minnesota Twins as he goes 8. And his value goes beyond the quality of the innings, but the number of the innings pitched today, too.
Scott Diamond's record goes to 7-3 on the year, about a 2.5 ERA. So he has been exactly what the Twins needed here in game 1.